McDonald's is proud to celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, recognizing the deep cultural roots and lasting impact of the AAPI community.
You know, these are tough topics, right? These are the issues that really are the issues of the day. But I feel like when you tell the stories through the lives of these characters, when people get to really fall in love with the characters, they connect to their trials and tribulations. And hopefully through that, there's understanding of the topics and the issues and how everyone has a different point of view. Everyone has a different life story. Everyone has been traumatized in different ways. And hopefully, you know, it's all about understanding at the end of the day. I'm trying to give light to, you know, that world of the 1%, and, you know, the incredible complexities that they have to go through as well.
Kevin Kwan, thank you so much for making time for us today.
Pleasure to be here, always.
From Crazy Rich Asians to Lies and Weddings, tell us about how you think your writing has evolved or changed.
You know, I always try to challenge myself when I'm writing and keep things interesting for myself as well as for the reader. You know, the first 3 books was a trilogy about Asians in Asia, and these new books are about Asians outside of Asia and their collision with the West. And in the writing, I also try to be experimental. I try to, you know, just have fun and do little interesting stylistic things that I think are interesting, that will challenge me and keep things amusing and entertaining.
And really, also a little bit controversial.
Really?
You tackle issues that are sensitive, like privilege and wealth and race. So in that way, it's not just entertainment, it's also educational. For people who are not in the circle, who may not be experiencing these lived experiences of a certain group of people, then they also understand.
I hope
that builds
so.
empathy.
Yeah,
right?
I hope it's enlightening to some people.
And how important is it for you to be that, one of those that, you know, our show highlights stories of immigration and representation, and there's no better representation than this. It's not just for you as yourself breaking through and having your work be seen by more than just a group of people, but also talking about topics that will educate, that will inspire, that will entertain, that's also aspirational.
Absolutely. I really am so careful and intentional with every storyline, with every issue, with every character, because I feel like I have a responsibility, right, to really do right by the issues. And hopefully when I embed them in stories that make people laugh, it also makes them think.
Right, exactly.
Right? And it gives them empathy for situations.
And so what is the importance to you of telling stories like this with authenticity? And even down to the details, portraying cultural traditions and cultural nuances.
I do an intense amount of research. You know, everything is about assuring authenticity. So I write about places that I go to. I write about characters that I really try to give them an entire internal life and their whole biography, for example. Like every character in my books are introduced by all the schools they went to.
Yes.
Right? And I think that also informs the reader of like what this person went through. What was their path to adulthood? What were their influences? You know, where they went to school really matters, right? What if you were Filipino but you were sent to Australia, boarding school, it really affects your life. So I really try my best because I think I'm here to really showcase and celebrate diversity and showcase different people's cultural background and experiences, especially Asians, right? And so I want to do justice by them and really try to break the stereotypes that exist out there. You know, that's one of my goals always. Right.
And there's a line in the book very early on where somebody says, it's a great time to be half Asian. It's a great time to be Asian. Do you feel that?
I do, absolutely. You know, I think it's something that really began my journey writing these books because I found that, you know, Asia was going through this amazing dynamic change for the last 40 years, and no one's really talking about it and telling these stories from a human level, from an intimate level of families, and how do families cope when the spotlight is suddenly on Asia.
May is also Asian, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Exactly.
What does it mean to represent and to honor Asian heritage in American culture?
I mean, it's a privilege and an honor that I never thought I would have. I never thought we'd be sitting here having a conversation about this, first of all, right? I think so many of us, I grew up, immigrated with my family to the US, and so much of your time is just spent about survival. How do you survive and how do you adapt?
And answering
know.
if you can speak English.
Exactly,
Right?
you know, and so you build up a lot of armor over the years, right? And I think we're really seeing the tide shift now, where so much of our native cultures can be celebrated in this country, right? Even with Filipino food, right? I just heard about some amazing new 5-star
Yes.
Filipino restaurant opening in Los Angeles, you know, so like food is a connector, stories are connectors, and when you celebrate those aspects of culture, people begin to really love that culture, right?
McDonald's is proud to celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, recognizing the deep cultural roots and lasting impact of the AAPI community.